All right. And
Nice
we're live.
money.
Okay, quick, before we do anything else, shout out to Foggy Notion. They did our logo.
Oh.
Nick Wick, local photographer. Great dude. Other than that, we've got, let's see, Curious Collections for, let's worry about the record today.
Yeah, it's a great
So-
little spot.
Yeah? All right. Nate, tell us about yourself. We got nothing but time. Roll into it.
Hi, guys. I'm Nate.
Hey, Nate.
Hi. I am from Austin, Texas. I play music sometimes in my free time. And when I'm not playing music, I'm planning a wedding because I'm getting married in like
That's right.
3 weeks.
3
weeks from now, dude.
3
Is there still a
weeks.
lot of planning left? Or is most
Yeah,
of it-
surprisingly, yeah. I kind of
Dang.
imagined it would wrap up like a few weeks before.
think, right? Okay.
Absolutely not.
Has she
No.
been doing like the lion's share, or have you been right in there with her?
We had a little split. At the beginning, I was doing like a lot of the logistics because we're
Right.
actually going all the way up to Washington and we're getting married in Olympic National Park.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's
Talk
gonna
to
be
me.
sick. And so I was planning a lot of that stuff, and then I started working full time, and then she quit her job at the same time that I started working. So now she's doing the back end.
Where are you working at?
I'm doing a couple things. I'm working with this company called Gig Finesse, and we do booking for artists at venues like across the country. Shout out Gig Finesse. But
Nice. Shout out.
and
Sponsor
then,
us.
I'm also working for a nonprofit called African New Life, and they have sponsors in the U.S. sponsor students in Rwanda, which is like a central African
Mhm.
country, and just sponsor them to go to school and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So doing both right now.
Okay, sick,
Yeah.
dude.
Great.
How's the music going?
The music is going. I'm in that weird in between. Like I put out that album Walls like a little over a year ago now, and then since then I keep on. I'm like, oh yeah, this is like the next stuff I'm gonna make. Like, it's super pumped for it. And so like I've made a ton of crap. Like, I made a country record, and then I made like
Love it.
indie, and then I was doing like just a whole mess of stuff. And then every time I get to the point where I'm like, I think it's ready, I'm like, oh, I don't like it anymore. And so then I start on the
Okay.
next thing. But it's been fun.
Who do
Such
you
is the
record with?
process, yeah.
What did you say?
Run that back.
Who do you record with for the most part?
Mostly just myself. I just do most of it in my bedroom. I like have a little studio set up. And then I've done some stuff with like our mutual friend Paul. Recorded with a few different people over the years, but mainly just do it myself.
So I didn't even know this until I was like, so this week we like gave your album kind of a refresher, and I didn't even realize Paul was like on it. What was
Yeah.
that like?
Yeah, it was super fun. So at the time we were working out of this studio space that we had put up in this little shed on this property that my parents have like out in like Dripping Springs area. And we had the studio set up because Sloan from Dayglow, he was recording out there while he was in between places where he was living. And so I got to go in and use all of his like fancy equipment, and it was a blast. So I was recording that song Flip Flopping, and I had the acoustic kind of demo set up, and I liked it, but I was struggling with a couple parts. It was getting really repetitive, and then Paul came over kind of just to hang out. And he like sat down at this Wurlitzer that Sloan had in the corner and just started playing. I mean, you know, Paul, he's just freaking incredible. And so he was just playing stuff, and then he was singing these like incredible harmonies and all that. And pretty quickly the song just kind of took shape as he was helping like guide where a lot of stuff went. So he wrote all the piano parts on there. He helped with the chorus chords because my chords were just like really boring. And so, he did a bunch of that, and then he sings on it a little bit throughout as well.
Yeah, he's got those
Yeah.
background vocals.
Yeah, I mean,
you can
he's
tell Paul's
remarkable.
falsetto from a mile away.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
unreal.
He's got nothing.
I was gonna
but
say
talent.
break out a couple of the Lone
By the
Stars.
way, don't mind me.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man. So you played with Sloan, right? You were
Yes.
you were on Dayglow's tour. correct?
Yeah. So I met him at a show at Spider House, which is this venue in Austin, like kind of near
right.
campus. Yeah. And I was actually feeling super sick. Me and my friend had said we were going to go. And then that night I was like, oh, I really don't want to go. Like, I just want to stay in. And my friend showed up at my door and like dragged me out and was like, no, you're going to this show.
I've been there.
It was a really great show. He was doing it solo at the time, so he had all these backing tracks on a piano, and he would just hit a key, and the song would start playing, and then he was up there with his guitar, and he'd sing it because he just hadn't found anyone to play with yet. And while he was on stage, he kind of, as a joke, was like, anyone knows anyone who plays instruments, like I'm looking for a band, hit me up. And so at the time I knew the girl he was dating from high school, and like we had all these connections. So I finally made my way and found him. And I played with him for a little under 2 years, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You were primarily guitar, right? Electric. Is that were you lead or?
Yeah, I was the lead guitar, or for the most part. There was a couple songs where we would like swap back and forth.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's eerily similar to how Keith Moon got his gig with The Who.
Really?
He was drunk at a bar that they were playing at and just called him out like, your drummer is shit. And they were like, well, like, show me something. Like, get up here, you asshole. And he got up there and Keith mooned his ass off. And it was like, okay, you're right.
Damn.
And apparently, like, legend has it they fired their drummer on the spot and Keith Moon took over.
So it's kind of like you
That's
called
one way
out
to
his
do it.
backing tracks.
Yeah.
It's like
What I'm hearing.
just the live like interaction of like,
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm looking for band.
Yeah.
That's good.
Versus just like, you know, who knows how this shit happens.
So I know a couple of the guys from your kind of live band.
Yeah.
You'd consider yourself like Everett, kind of by yourself, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
How do you like find guys to play?
It's really just a bunch of my friends. So actually, the guy that ended up dragging me to that Dayglow concert, he's my drummer, Jarrett. He's like one of my best friends, and he was in jazz band in high school or something. So he's been drumming for a while, but he never really was like serious about doing a lot of drumming. And then I was like, hey, you want to play drums for me? And he was like, heck yeah, that sounds
man,
fun.
yeah.
And so it's been a bunch of that, just finding random people. Like Jarrett's roommate, Alec, plays keys for me. And I actually don't know when he started playing keys, but he's been doing that for forever. So kind of just finding random people through people. Yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. It's a blast.
This keeps it
time.
lively.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you prefer to have a Rolodex and like a revolving door, or would you rather have like a set like crew that you were with?
I'd rather have it be pretty set. Like, I think that's one of the fun parts. Like, we haven't actually gotten to go on tour. We just play kind of random shows wherever we go. But yeah, I think it's more fun when you have a set group because it's fun to like be friends with all the people in your band.
And you build
Yeah.
chemistry. It's like I've
Yeah.
noticed a lot more modern bands. Like you've got like your core group, and then you've got the guys who fill in, and then they come in and they go, and it's just like chemistry is a thing that bands get. That bands used to perform live, and then they would get the record deal. Like now, it's like you record at home, you publish, you get your record deal, and then like the last piece of the puzzle is recording live.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see the cycle. Interesting.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty reversed for sure.
Did you record first, or like start playing live and like bounce around? Like, what did the chicken come before the egg?
Yeah.
Or what was it?
So I was recording stuff pre-Dayglow, but I didn't actually put anything out until after I started playing on tour because it was kind of that thing of like, I was like, oh, I can do this. And then I sat down and I couldn't do it like at all. And I put some stuff out on SoundCloud
Nice.
that I was really proud of at the time. And looking back, it's so bad. And so.
We'll look back on this
Yeah.
the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it still up?
Yeah, it actually is. It's bench warmer.
Bench warmer.
Don't go look it up though. It's not great. I like had put stuff out and I was trying to record, but I didn't play any live shows as Everett. And then post Dayglow, I was like, oh, maybe I actually can do this again. And then I actually started trying watching all the YouTube videos and trying to actually learn how to like produce a song. Because before I was like, man, it's so hard to mix, and all I was doing was adjusting levels and panning stuff left and right.
Right.
And then I like opened up my computer, and there was a whole new world to try and figure out. So
Wait, there's more than
It's a
panning?
mess.
I know it's crazy.
Oh, man. Okay.
Would you say like working with Dayglow left you with a lot more? Okay, how did it influence you? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah. I mean, musically, I think it influenced me a lot because, I mean, I played that stuff like every day for a year, whether it was on
Right.
stage or just practicing, because I would play through that album like once a day just to make sure I was fresh on it. And so for sure, when I went in to record, it was like that was very much the style of music I'd been
It's on your
playing, so
mind.
that's what I made. Yeah. And that, I mean, it influenced a lot there. And then also just becoming more proficient in an instrument. Like, I'm by no means like a great guitarist or anything. I'm just like, I'm good enough. And so being able to like, I guess more than anything, it's just the confidence, because I like guitar, but my love is not playing guitar. And so I always, like, I never really practiced a whole lot. And so just like getting the confidence to actually go out there and like do what I can.
Well, the thing is, like, in my opinion, at least in the College Station scene, I'm not sure of how it is in Austin as much, but like you don't see like these virtuosos anymore. Like you don't have just shredders who are like electric guitar players, and you don't have people who are just like a drummer's drummer. Besides Chris, who's like 30, so he's been
That
doing
is
it a little
true.
longer,
That is my
but
one downfall.
everyone in College Station, it feels like, has to be kind of a jack of all trades, and so you end up with these bands that are kind of like amalgamations more
Yeah.
than anything, you know?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
cool to a degree, because you end up with, like, everyone in the band has their own kind of side gig, and you end up with, like, different kind of expressions from each angle. But at the same time, I don't know. I would love to see, like, a band in College Station form of people who are just, like, killers, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be something else.
Just like really about their instrument.
yeah, exactly.
It's also just like a transient town. Like
That's
no one
true.
like from College Station
Very
is
few.
like sure, like we know got like, you know, David like Soto can thrash.
Yeah.
He's from Austin.
Yeah.
Like,
He's a bass
He's
player.
about
He's not a
and,
guitar
and he's a
player.
bass player.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
so it's
saying.
like so it's all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting because like you have different interesting take because I mean John plays bass and then guitar and then like does like in 4 different bands and I bounce around and from 2 to 3 like that's a good point.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's
We don't
an
have
interesting
bands
scene.
anymore. We have people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have people and we have like gigs and then
Yeah.
it's like, can you make this one? And it's like no, I'm busy that night. It's like, oh, okay, and then like that guy, and then you run out of drummers and you're like, okay, I can't do the gig.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the deal in Austin? Is it like that at all, or is it?
It's
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it's pretty similar. Like everybody I know that makes music or plays an instrument can also do another thing for the most part. The only person I've met who's like just kind of like you said, like a virtuoso at their instrument is the drummer for Dayglow, Brady. He's like
drummers, dude.
yeah, it's
It's a different
drummers.
deal.
Yeah, he's
Golly.
he's incredible, like amazing drummer. And that's just like that's what he wants to do. It's be a like touring session drummer. Like he used to play for Nane, if y'all have heard of that band out of Austin, and like he's played drums for a few people, but he is like a
Being
born
a
and bred
session drummer is tough.
Yeah,
Because you have to be proficient in styles, and because you have to be able to like vibe with someone instantly, like hear what they're doing, and then not just like pick up what they want to do, but like know where they want to go.
yeah,
It's tough, dude. It's tough.
yeah.
I mean, I would love to do that, but
Like to that end, I remember like so we saw you at Herschel's a few months ago, and like your bass player, shout out Nick Olson, he opened up with his own stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it like that for most of your band, or is it like would you find songwriters, or you try to find like instrumentalists for the most time?
Mainly people, and I don't know. I wouldn't even say like I try to find instrumentalists. I try and find people who can just play the instrument,
Right,
like, more than
right.
anything. But so Nick Olson, yeah, he has his own stuff. I mean, he's an amazing guitar player, but plays bass like super funky, great guy,
Great dude.
And then Jarrett, actually, he's been learning guitar because he was like, I don't want to play. Everybody else plays
Why
guitar.
not?
That's how
And so he picked it up, and yeah, I mean, Matt plays like every instrument under the sun. I mean, he rips on guitar. And Alec, he actually is pretty much just piano. He sings too. I mean, he's incredible on harmonies and stuff like that. But I'd say his main instrument is just.
Well, that's
piano.
kind of the deal
Yeah.
with like stringed instruments, right? It's like if
Yeah.
you're gonna play guitar, you feel like you can play bass,
Yeah,
and so you
yeah.
eventually kind of fall into that.
well, the voice is an underrated instrument.
Super
People
underrated.
talk about like, oh, he can sing. It's like that is an
If
instrument.
you can hit harmonies while
I-
playing,
dude.
I mean,
Yeah.
are you familiar with the Musso brothers at all?
Yes, Michael.
Oh,
Michael's
yes.
insane.
Michael is like, so
Yeah.
I'm a bass player. I would, without a doubt say he's like the best bass player in town.
Yeah.
Just as far as like preparation, like sound design.
Yeah.
And he also can do harmonies. It's unreal. And then
Dude.
Matt he shreds on
Yeah.
guitar as well.
He's insane. Yeah. He, Michael, we were with him, I think it was at the Herschel show. And he came in and was like, we were trying to figure out the sound or whatever. And like, he's an incredible sound engineer
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Like he just walked in and took everything over and made it sound insane. He's got a lot of talent for sure.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
So tell me about the name Everett.
It's my middle name. So
There you go.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I wanted to do something that would stand on its own. Like I didn't want to be a 2-syllable or a the something. And I wanted it to be personal. And then I was like, oh, middle name works. And it's my grandma's. It's a It's a name from my grandma's side of the family, like family name up there. And she doesn't have any brothers, but she's really proud of her family legacy. Like, we go to her house and she has just so many books. Like, she's gone through all these newspapers and made clippings and like really insane about our family from her like branch.
That's dope.
But there's nobody else to like carry on the family name, and so I was like, Everett's a cool way to do that and like try and keep it going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of Briscoe.
Yeah.
Because I think that was one of the guys is there's a family name to some degree.
Oh, cool.
But there you go. I guess another Austin guy.
Yeah.
What is
Cool,
the heritage? Like, what is the line?
I don't know. I think I know we're Welsh, and
There
then
it is.
apparently there's some part of us from Spain. You know, just kind of European.
That's good
Yeah.
flavor.
General
Yeah.
European.
It's general
Yeah.
European.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
Into that for sure. Okay, I think it might be time to rip out the record exchange. Roll credits. We'll let you talk about yours first, and then we will
Sweet.
present.
Thank you.
Talk about this one.
This is Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
Oh, nice.
Huge fan.
I
Huge
love
fan, actually.
This album. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember the first time I heard this album. My sister told me a long time ago. I was in like, I think early high school or something. She was like, "Have you heard of Rainbow Kitten Surprise?"
Yeah.
I was like, "That name's whack. I'm not going to listen to Rainbow Kitten
Dude,
Surprise."
Their biggest downfall.
yeah. And so I never listened to him. And then in high school, this album came out, and me and one of my good friends, Cooper, he had loved Rainbow Kitten Surprise for a long time. And so he sat me down and was like, "You have to listen to this album." And so we started listening to it, and we played a lot of Rocket League. I don't know if y'all know that.
Yeah.
So we would just turn on albums in the background and just like put them on repeat, and we would play Rocket League. And so we turned this one on, and it took like a listen through, and we like knew all the words, and we were like, "This is the coolest thing ever."
I was going to say, like, so this one over like 7 Plus Mary or their debut album, for sure?
Yeah.
You think for sure this one?
Yeah, I'd say this one is my favorite. You know what I actually really like is just those two, the Mary B-sides, the
Oh, yeah.
oh, what are they called?
I know what you're talking about. Somebody, yeah.
Oh,
I know what you're
gosh.
talking about. But dude,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, their first album, I think, is untouchable.
Really?
Like track for track.
Okay. I will
For
go
sure. So this
re-listen
is
to it, yeah.
this is, you actually picked a good band because this is like, I think I've seen them 4 times live.
Really?
Total. Oh, yeah. I've, first after they're like just at festivals and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I've seen them every time they come to Dallas for sure.
No
They've never
way.
come to College Station, never will.
Dang.
But and then they opened for Mount Joy in Austin at,
Really?
at Moody. Yeah.
Oh shoot.
It was a
Nice.
great show. But I think their first album is untouchable. I think their second album, 7 Plus Mary, is like up there for sure.
Yeah.
But this was actually my least favorite one. And
Really?
At the end of the day, it's like still a great album.
Yeah.
But like, how do you think it compares to the first two?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't know their first two well enough
Sure.
to like really give like a learned opinion on it. But
Yeah.
I mean, what I love about this one is that like the songwriting obviously is just really remarkable. Like, I don't know, they do such a cool little blend of, it's like, it's not rap, but at the same time, it's kind of rap. Like it's fast
spitting,
singing.
yeah.
It's fast singing.
Yeah.
It's rhythmic, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he's the words are just so good, and I think it's so catchy. Like all the, I don't even know what you would call that beat. You're a drummer. I don't know. It's just like a
Sometimes.
lot of like, I don't know.
Syncopation.
Yeah, syncopation. Yeah,
Syncopation, just rhythms.
yeah.
You-
I think it's sick. I love
If
it.
you get a good like rhythm that you like, you can build off it.
Yeah.
It's like they're. When I would like, I play piano also, and I do other. But it's like when I would record, like everything you could throw down, and then like when you throw the drums in, like, not to just shout out to my drummers,
Yeah.
but it's like once you get the drums in, you get that bottom, and like the bass just kind of rolls right in.
Yeah.
It feels just it feels like a
feels, baby.
song.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not to discredit any song that doesn't have drums.
No. Yeah.
But come on.
Yeah, I think they kill it, and they do
Word,
so
word.
much with like so little. I feel like they don't have a ton of tracks. It
They don't
seems like
track
on a
that
lot of
much.
their
Well,
songs.
what strikes to me is like their harmonies are
Yeah.
the harmonies on all of their songs are so unreal.
Yeah.
They utilize the entire band for sure.
Yeah.
See that's what I like. Like I love power trios.
Yeah.
I'm a big Rush. I'm a big ZZ Top.
Yeah.
I love power trios when it's like there are only 3 guys making all this noise.
Yeah.
It's like, like everyone has to do like I mean, granted, Rush, give me a break. Neil Peart's playing 14 different things at once and calling it drums.
Yeah.
And Geddy Lee's doing his foot bass thing, like with actual bass, the synth pads and singing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, the other guy, what's he do? Oh, he just plays guitar. It's like just guitar. The guy is, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know his name. But
Are you
man,
familiar with a band called Royal Blood?
I
Either
was
of y'all?
about to talk about Royal Blood.
No,
They're
there you
The
go.
insane.
sound they
Yeah.
get out of just two people
It's
is
two people?
just two. It's a bass player and a drummer.
I'm into that.
And he's
The ba-
got like an octave pedal, and so he'll
octave pedal.
stomp it and like play a solo over the drums, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Gummit.
So good,
Yeah. He's
Oh,
insane.
that's money.
Yeah.
man.
Let's talk about this album art.
Yeah, let's look at it for
Just
sure.
tearing into,
What does that look like to you, Nate?
it's
Just
like a modern Rorschach.
yeah, rift in time and space.
There it
Time
is.
and space for sure.
It's like just be chilling in your neighborhood, in your living room, in your local neighborhood, and let me just tear this in half. You know what I mean?
Well, you know,
Yeah.
okay, so as far
Yeah,
as
for
Rainbow
sure.
Kitten Surprise goes, what it comes down to me, down to for me, is their live performances are unreal. Like
Yeah.
he puts on so much energy when he's on stage. Really, they all do. But the main guy, the big beard, he's like a monster the entire time.
Yeah.
And so when you perform, you're a little more laid back. What do you think going into performances? Like, what's your goal when you get on stage?
I don't know. I mean, I want to put on a good show, obviously. Like, I want everybody to have a good time, but I don't know. I don't think a lot before I get on stage. I kind of just go out there and try and have a good time. I don't really do much of like a stage persona or anything. Like I remember when we were on the Dayglow tour, we were in where were we? We were somewhere in the UK, and I think it was London. We were
Dope.
over there, and the guy Hobo Johnson.
Yes.
forget his-
y'all were
I know
yeah,
Hobo Johnson.
Yeah, the guy.
Forget his name. But anyways, he was feeling super sick. Like he was staying in the tour bus, like wouldn't come out until it was time for the show. And I remember I watched him. He like walked in through the hall, and his face was like dead. Like his eyes were like barely open. He was just like walking along down the halls, and then he got to the door, and the guy was like to the stage. And the guy was like, all right, you're on in 10. And he like started counting down. And this like magical change came over him as the countdown. And all of a sudden he like picked up the mic from the guy. And right when he said 1, he like screamed into it. And he was like, fuck yeah. And like different person, night and day. Ran on stage like they put on a crazy show. And as soon as he stepped off behind the curtain, it was just like lights out. Yeah.
Well-
and I can't do that.
I was gonna say like so you obviously not to that degree, but you know the first time you play a song live, and if like for me and Chris, we gig like a couple times a month, and so every time is super exciting. You know,
Yeah.
every time it's like this is probably somewhat of a new audience, usually a newer set list.
And if
we're
we
do-
mess up, who cares?
yeah, I mean
Like,
we're
it's
just
not our
we're just
show.
the rhythm section.
Yeah.
Yeah. My point is like it's exciting every time.
Yeah.
When you're on tour, like that's a different deal, right? Like you could not have possibly been as excited on day like 20 as you were on day 1 or 2, right?
Yeah.
What was that like?
For sure. It was I mean, there was definitely a point where I was just, everybody really was just ready to get home. And it took those 2 tours, but I realized pretty quick, I mean, it was over the course of 2 years, but I realized it was like, I don't want to be a touring musician. Like, I'm okay, I think, going on tour to do my own stuff, but just playing guitar, like, every day was just not my cup of tea. And I was doing school full time at the same time. And so I would, like, be writing a paper on the car ride between cities, and then we'd get there, and I'd, like, submit it, go on stage, play a show, come off, like take a quiz, go to bed, and then do it all again the next day.
Golly.
And I was like, no longer, I can't do it. Like it was too much. And so, but I don't know. I mean, we had a lot of good times. Like I would say the majority of the shows I ended up having fun, even if I didn't feel quite, super energized before I got on stage. But there were definitely days where it was
Well, it's like you got people screaming at you in French, right? It's got to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
pretty
I was
exhilarating.
Say, you mentioned UK, like you were over in Europe.
Yeah, we went to UK and where did we go? I think we hit Ireland for one show, but that was the farthest, outside of UK America that we went. Yeah,
Does
or we
this-
went to Canada.
Does
Yeah.
the city matter? Like, are you more excited to play like Miami than Cleveland? Not to
I don't
knock
know.
Cleveland or anything, but I mean,
Yeah.
we all know Cleveland sucks.
I think.
It's not as
Yeah.
bad as Houston.
Yeah.
The mistake by the lake. Come on.
Yeah.
We all know.
I don't know. I mean, I think City helped for a good bit of it. Like, if we were going to a cool one, obviously we were like a little more excited, and mainly it's just a stage because that's where we spent like most of the time, or at least I did, because I would like be doing school and then go on stage. But I would say one of the coolest kind of surprises of that tour was we went to Birmingham, Alabama. I don't know if all of y'all.
My grandparents are from Birmingham, actually.
It
There
is
you go.
just a gorgeous city. It is one of the coolest
It's a hot
cities we
take.
went to on tour. I
Wow.
loved it. They have this little like triangle square. It was like a square, but it's a triangle.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so fun.
Hidden gem, man.
Yeah,
Did you go to the
Hidden
Piggly
Gem.
Wiggly?
I don't think we went to.
That's
the
their
Piggly Wiggly.
HEB
man.
out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, city definitely helped. I mean, when we were going to like New York, obviously we were like, sweet.
Where'd
know,
you
this
play
is
in
gonna
New
be
York?
fun. We did Mercury Lounge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of Mercury Lounge.
It was a cool spot. It was really fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, okay. So we have a couple things for you. Not
Sweet.
to interrupt the train of thought.
But I'm going to interrupt your train of thought.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get back to that.
Yeah. Hold on to that thought while I interrupt your train of thought.
Yes.
Nice. That worked.
So, all right. Here's what we got for
Crisis
This
averted.
is. Go ahead. This is
Peach
like
Pit?
one of my favorite albums.
you.
Of
Is
all
this
time.
actually?
Yes.
so you
Oh, nice.
Probably already got this.
I
then.
love this. I actually don't have it.
You don't have
Yeah.
it? Well, that's
Oh, well,
perfect.
there we go.
Incredible.
So we were listening to your album, and
First off, I'm interjecting.
okay, yeah.
The album art for Walls. I'm fascinated by album art. I brought it up there. Fascinated by album art. I love it. We talk about, this one. We'll talk about this one. We'll circle back, or we can go about it right now. Where did the album art for Walls come from?
Honestly, I wanted to make something myself because I think it's like
You
it's
made
fun.
it?
So I made it, yeah.
Okay.
And so
Hell yeah.
I like my fiance now, at the time girlfriend, had she has an iPad with Procreate, so I was just sitting like doodling stuff out, and ended up I just decided to write Walls, and I was like, oh, this looks super boring. Like it was just the letters on the background. So I'm gonna draw some like weird little people-ish looking people.
I say,
on there.
are they
Yeah.
people? Because at first glance, I thought, hot take, they were frogs.
I wanted, yeah. I mean, I can't draw people like for the life of me, no matter how hard I try.
I thought they were
Can't draw
frogs.
people, and so I was like, I'm gonna draw something that like is kind of the shape of a person, but not gonna try and make it look realistic.
Yeah.
Cartoons are in right now, man.
It's
It's
easier.
a dope cover. I like
Yeah,
it a lot.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This cover.
All right.
Not quite as
Peach
in
Pit.
as feed pictures, though.
Yes.
Yes.
In
some
various
gnarly ones on
forms of shoes, undress.
Yeah.
It's all of them. House shoes,
Yeah.
socks, bare feet, on a beautiful tile floor.
I've never analyzed the cover until just now.
Isn't that
It's
crazy?
a weird looking cover.
It's a crazy
feels-
looking cover. It's kind of almost Mom Jeans-esque, right?
Yeah.
It feels very homey. And if you notice, like, that's obviously, well, I say obvious, it feels like that's someone's, like, apartment kitchen.
Yeah.
Whereas this is someone's living room.
Yeah.
It's like we found a way to just, and we're talking about walls.
We're making a home.
It's all about
We're
home
just-
spaces, dude.
We're just building ourselves a little home here. No big deal.
100%. All right, so you said this is one of your favorite albums. That's
Yes.
phenomenal. Works out great for us.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Planned it.
Um,
So Chris is not super familiar, as far as
Okay.
I know.
I-
I am a fan
yeah.
of Peach Pit. And I enjoyed a lot of the songs on this record, but I'm not, as an album, not super familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were listening to it. We were at Curious Collections, shout out. It's a record store in town, and we were listening through various records, and I had obviously heard Shampoo Bottles and those songs like that, and
Yeah.
I was like, there are some similarities between some of the stuff you do. Your sound is a little bit less murky, little maybe a little bit less reverbed out, but some similarities I feel like in songwriting and sound. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think I drew a little bit from Peach Pit as I was writing that. I was the biggest ones were definitely like Peach Pit, obviously Dayglow, just because I like played with him for forever, and then Dr. Dog. And so like
Yeah.
anything
Nice.
that's kind
Word.
of like one thing I love about Peach Pit, which also I feel like is similar to Dr. Dog, is it's indie pop alt-ish kind of rocky sometimes music. But there's like a heavily featured acoustic guitar in a lot of the songs, and I love that. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's one of the things I love about this album. And they always have just incredible tones on all of their instruments. Like, I think the way they're the voice on shampoo bottles, I actually DM'd them because I was like, how did you do that? Because it sounds super cool. It's
Hell
like
yeah.
phased a little bit, but also sounds super crisp and clear. And I
Right.
don't know. I just think the production on it is incredible, and I think all the songs are just super catchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
you were saying about acoustics is like they call it bedroom pop, and this may be just my opinion, but like no one sits in their room and plays electric guitar, right? You sit in
Yeah.
your room and you play an acoustic,
Yeah.
and then you take it to the electric,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of the sounds that like you hear on those kinds of albums probably started on an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
And you've got acoustic. We were listening to Walls today. You've got a lot of acoustic instrumentation. Is there a little bit of ukulele even? Did I hear any of
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
a little bit.
Ukulele's on there a little bit.
Yeah, man. I feel like that's such a pure sound. I'm a big fan of the acoustic. I'm more of a folk guy myself,
Yeah.
actually, so love the acoustic sound.
It's one of his lesser qualities.
Yeah, one of my lesser qualities.
He just has like a whole like folk album he's working on. No big deal.
Something like
I
that.
listened to Ghost Stories the other day.
Oh,
It came
shout
on
out.
Shuffle, and it's so good. It's incredible.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Ghost
Appreciate
Stories, camp. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Doesn't get better.
it. Something like that. Okay, who were we interviewing, Chris?
Oh right, sorry, my
Um,
bad.
So was it hard choosing between like sticking with that acoustic sound and bringing it to like a full band electric / keys kind of? How did you kind of delineate? Because there's both.
Yeah, I don't know. I've most of the times when I'm writing a song, I kind of just write with the instruments that are most readily available. So most of the time, an acoustic guitar, and then I'll put down like a few chords that I like, and then I'll build the whole song around it. And normally, I'll actually write an entire chorus minus the words, and then move from there into verse. And like I do it all instrumentation first. And so as I was going, most of the time, those first takes or those first instruments I didn't really redo. I guess I redid a bunch of the takes, but I never really changed or swapped out an instrument for the most part. So
Yeah.
if the electric was right beside me and the acoustic was on the other side of the room, most of the time I would just like reach for the electric and start playing with that.
Nice.
For a lot of those. So I don't know if that actually answered your question.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
that works. Yeah.
yeah.
So you kind of just went like path of least resistance for the most
Yeah,
part.
yeah, and that the album Walls, it was originally meant to be an EP actually, and then I didn't realize that Spotify would classify it as an album if I went over the certain time length, and so I was like, oh, I guess it's an album now. But when I put it out, oh, it's gone. What was I saying? Oh, it's just a collection of songs from like probably 4 years or so.
Yeah.
So I just kind of picked like all the ones I liked most, which is why I feel like while they all kind of fit into a similar vein of like style and genre, there's still like quite a bit of disparity. Like, I don't know, Flip Flopping is like pretty different from The Repeat, or like
Yeah.
My Dog is pretty different from Take Your Time or whatever.
I was
So-
going to ask, do you have a dog?
Yeah, I do.
Tell us about your dog.
Yeah, so I have, my parents currently have a dog named Humphrey, and he's really cute.
Yeah.
And so that's a dog we have now. In the past, we had two dogs actually at the time that I wrote that song, Molly and Maggie. But the song itself is actually more about, it was one of my close friends' older brothers passed away when I was like, how old was I? I was like 12 or so.
Okay.
But we lived on this street out kind of, it was on Lake Austin, kind of in the middle of nowhere. And so all the houses were on one side. There was like 20 of us out there.
Yeah.
And so we were all super tight. So I knew him really well. But so when he passed away, a lot of that song, I mean, some of it is just like random words, because I feel like sometimes I just try and fill stuff. But most of the heart behind that song is about like losing him. And so like, yeah, the My Dog is more of like a metaphor, simile type thing. Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. That actually puts a lot of spin on that one. For
Yeah.
me. Dang.
Yeah, I was like, I try and do something that's like most of the time when I sit down and write a song, I try and write something that's kind of a more serious topic, but I also don't want to be like, I feel like Phoebe Bridgers a lot of time is like, I'm so sad, and I'm singing about how I'm sad. I love Phoebe Bridgers, no diss on Phoebe Bridgers. I listen to her all the time, but I don't want to sing about just like being sad. Like I want to put a happy twist on it to make it more listenable, I guess.
Well, the thing about your songs is like, I mean, while we were looking around the shop today for the record for you, I was like, we can't pick a sad record because it's like your kind of stuff is like I would listen to this on a yacht, you know, like I would go out on the boat or I would grill, brats for the family, listening to this kind of stuff. It's very laid back. But what I like about it is you still have got lyricism to it, like I can tell you probably. Do you write words first or do you write chords first? Because like for me, for instance, like I write words and then I try to fit chords around them.
Yeah.
But it depends on the song, I'm sure. But how do you typically go at it?
Most of the time, it's chords first. Like I'll build out basically an entire song. Excuse me,
sure.
Lonestars, and then I'll go
shout out,
and then I'll go like right on top of it. And there's definitely a few songs I've done either simultaneously with just like acoustic voice or whatever, and I've all the voice memos or whatever. Musician's greatest friend.
Oh, dude,
no kidding.
Yeah, seriously.
I've got months.
Yeah. But then there's been other times I'll be walking and I'll be like, oh, this would be a fun lyric. And so I'll write that down in the notes and the rest of the song kind of like builds off that. But I'd say for the most part, instruments first is how I normally approach it.
I have a voice memo from yesterday.
Yeah.
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 And I'll play it for you now. Tell me what you think.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
you.
I really dug Holy Ghost. Holy
Thanks.
Ghost really got
Yeah.
after me.
I like that.
The tune and the tone is great, and then you spun it around a little bit lyrically. It's like you were setting it up, and then you're like setting. It's like you were setting up something where you're like, I'm here, but I'm not, and it's like I'm here for you, but like I'm not.
Yeah.
I was like, that's interesting. Was there something specific going on when you wrote that one?
I'd say a lot of those, a lot of the songs on that that album are kind of all about, like the reason I named it Walls is, and I have that one song, Walls.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but that song specifically, and then a lot of the songs on the album are kind of about this friendship that I had with this girl that was never anything romantic. But it was just like a really kind of like toxic relationship where she would like, just like get really down and like really depressed, and so I'd go to be there with her, and then she would like push me away and like just be really like just mean and like cuss me out and all this like pretty bad stuff. But then I would feel bad because I'm like, she's hurting, like she's just lashing out. But there came a point where it was like literally 4 years of that, and I was like,
yikes,
this isn't healthy anymore.
Wow.
And so through the course of that, I was kind of like putting up these walls, like emotional walls around things, and like not letting myself get like close. So that's kind of what Holy Ghost was about, was like,
I hear that.
like I'm not your Holy Ghost, but I'll be there when you need me most.
Yeah.
That whole kind of like line, because like I can't like you can't save somebody. Like at a certain point, people have to help themselves.
Golly, tell me
Yeah.
about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to get too deep on
Yeah.
the
Yeah, sorry
Record
about
Exchange
that.
podcast.
No, that's
I
great.
feel like that's kind of where we're at, though, right? It's like,
I mean,
I
that
feel
one,
like
yeah.
a lot of times it's like personal accountability has been forgotten about.
Yeah.
No,
You
that
know?
one got
That's-
me. I like that one.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Good word there, my friend.
I was going to say, chiming in again, they didn't have this album, but I went into it, other than what I heard in Arkansas, I went into it as blind as I could, and I just hit, play and let it roll, and just kind of like, what did I hear from my own experience? I heard a lot of the Shins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like a cleaner, like if the Shins were in like the late 80s.
Yeah.
And just like cleaned up, like everything was just like right where it needed to be. Like the Shins have vocally, I think especially, and they can kind of turn it up a little bit. Like you stay a little more chill. But it's like the vibe that they go after and the way that they, again, the acoustic is a big part of what the Shins do. And vocally he can go off, and it's like you just keep like the reverb and everything. Like I was hearing a lot of the Shins, and I dug it. I'm a big Shins guy.
I really know nothing about the Shins, so
Oh,
I will
dude.
go
Yeah,
listen
well,
to the
so
Shins.
check it
My
out.
after
first
this.
thought
Yeah.
was like, I mean, this is a dumb question to ask anybody who's like into rock and roll at all, but like, what's your Beatles album? Like if you had to pick one, what would it be?
Oh, this is gonna be pretty bad.
Oh boy.
I don't really listen to the Beatles, like
that's okay.
ever.
Okay,
I
so
took
I was-
a class on the Beatles, like I did.
Yeah.
Like I did. I've had many an opportunity to dive into the Beatles,
Sure.
and for a long time it was the whole mono thing that just like really
Okay,
messed with me,
okay,
because
I
I would
hear
be
ya.
walking around and have my headphones in, and like I just for some reason I couldn't get past it. But I mean, I like a lot of their greatest hits. Like if you ask me genuinely, it would be like one of their greatest
Yeah,
hits
just
albums.
one. Yeah, one.
Just-
one is
yeah,
your
sure,
favorite.
sure.
Yeah.
So we almost picked up Revolver today. I'm glad we
Okay.
didn't pick that one. No, I get that. Well, the deal with the Beatles is like, if you like, Peach Pit or you like the Shins, then like somewhere down the line there's something from the Beatles.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
it's
Oh,
like
for sure.
if I heard Paul McCartney or John Lennon in something I listened to of yours, it's probably just like 1,000 different.
Yeah.
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Kevin Bacon's in there somewhere.
So who's your classic band then? What's the origin for you?
I mean, honestly, so the first like music that I started listening to that I was like, I want to write music like this was actually Michael Buble, which is nothing like my music
No, I
at
respect
all.
that.
'Cause
Yes,
I was
dude.
like, this guy's incredible.
I'd take.
And then I was like, oh man, I can't do this. So you need
He
a big
swooned
band.
you is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
he really
Oh
did.
my
No,
yeah.
that's great.
And
Heartbreaker.
then,
No, I love it.
Wow, that's great.
yeah. But then from there, I was like, okay, I need to find something, I don't know, just that I
Sure.
can actually do and something that like not just 40-year-old women like.
You can't play Michael Bublé on the acoustic guitar.
I've tried. You can't. And so really like one of the first bands I was listening to that I was like, oh, I want to make music like this was actually Dr. Dog, listening
go.
through them. But I'd say like a classic band that like, people love forever. I don't know if I really have like a classic band that I
No,
listen
yeah.
to because a lot of that like I enjoy for sure. Like there's no classic band that I don't like. Like I like the Beatles, for
Sure.
example. Like, I'm sure I like the Shins. I don't actually know how old they are, but I don't know if they'd be considered
Not
classic.
No, their first
Yeah.
album, I can't think of it. Carrying His Creep
no
was the
clue,
first. Was
yeah.
the first
Yeah.
song. Inverted World. That's it. That came out in like 01.
Okay,
In fact,
yeah.
I know it did because when I was listening to it, I connected your album to it, so I looked up to be like, that is what I'm hearing, right? And I played it, and they just came out with their 20th anniversary.
Really?
So 2021. So it was
There we go.
2001.
We're
And
gonna
I
have
don't know it,
a list of homework for you.
Yeah, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah.
You should be taking notes.
You into the
Have
Strokes
you-
at all?
Yeah.
I like the Strokes.
You
Yeah,
like the Strokes? Do you?
Yeah,
Casablancas.
I mean, once again, like, I've probably heard the big ones, but
Sure,
like I haven't like
sure.
gone through and listened through. And I think a lot of it really came like I wasn't like into music until like late high school, I'd say, where I started being like, I think I have a good music taste.
Right there
like,
with you, man.
Like,
right there with you.
like Reese Myers, you know Reese?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
stud.
bit.
He's got to
Yeah.
be on here at some point.
Yeah,
right?
dude. No,
He's
we're gonna get
super-
it.
We'll get a reset here.
All
Don't
right,
worry.
we'll get Reese.
He's a stud. But he, I mean, whenever we talk about music, he'll say a band like that, and I'll be like, I don't really know him, and he's like, oh my god, how do you not? Because he would.
yeah,
I feel like
sounds about
he's been listening to like the classics, like the things that birthed the music we have today, like for forever. Because he had like older brothers, or whatever the reason is. I had an older sister, so I would listen to a lot of like
In sync.
like a G6.
I listened to a lot of Taylor Swift when I was growing up. I had the
Taylor
same
Swift's great.
deal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I listened to a lot of Glee. So like a lot of songs I would be
Really?
like,
Oh,
this is a
God.
great song. And then I'd hear like the original artist do it and be like, wow. Yeah, I can't believe they copied Glee. This one.
Wow, Glee really knocked this one out of the park.
Glee's got some hits, bro.
Oh boy.
That's crazy. Dang.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a classic.
No, I guess
one.
what I mean to ask is like, what did you like grow up with? I mean, they may not be classic. For me, it was the Strokes, and they're not super classic.
Yeah.
I mean,
Classic
they're
for you.
getting there at this point, but like I grew up, and I'd get on like the Google Play Store on my
Yeah.
Android phone, and it would be like, oh, free song of the week, and it would be like, something from one of the middle Strokes albums. I'm
Yeah.
not sure exactly. Or it'd be like Jesus.
Golly. That's a bit of a turn.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
You remember that U2 album just appeared on
Yeah.
everyone's phone?
I was about to say
Golly.
that's the one that everybody
Biggest
listened
backfire of all
No
time.
joke.
to. Jeez.
Wow. Actually, pretty good album, too.
Really?
If you've listened to it.
Never
Raised
listened
by
to it.
Wolves.
Yeah.
Super good.
See, they ruined it.
They
Like,
did.
I
They
didn't even wanna
legitimately they
listen to it.
ruined it for you.
I
I mean,
know.
it's funny because now everything's on everyone's phone. You know,
Yeah.
That's true.
I would do it if I were
True.
them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't actually.
Well, it's just like implanting your. It's like imposing. It's like, no, I'm coming to your party. It's like, well, I mean, I was gonna invite you, but now that you've made it like,
I don't
no,
think I want.
now that,
Yeah, it's
now
like,
the
man,
tone is off.
No, you got to make me want it. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
It's
know.
like it's you too. Like it's not like anybody didn't want it, and I think that was the assumption. Was like, we'll just go
Oh,
ahead.
it's gotta- yeah,
we'll
we're
skip
that
the
big.
middleman,
Yeah.
and we'll just do you a favor and give it to you. It's like, wait, whoa, hold on.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
Have you been to any like concerts in Austin that are just blown you away? I'm sorry, the jump there was like U2 is supposed to put on some of the greatest concerts of all
Really?
time.
No,
yeah,
they're,
like
Bono knows how to work. A
he's
crowd.
he's a crowd man.
The Edge.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know the Edge's real name.
I don't think he has one.
That's brilliant. He's wearing a beanie. He's been
born-
bald since he was.
It's like John
14.
5. There's a metal guitar player who goes by John 5, which makes
Yeah.
sense because there's
Yeah,
like
why not?
5 Johns in this room at the moment. So
Yeah.
who knows? But
That'll work.
yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
what's your live performance?
Okay, this is kind of a weird one. Best
Love
show
it.
I've
Get it.
ever seen is this band called Andy Frasco and the UN. Have y'all
Okay.
heard of them?
No,
And the UN.
Andy Frasco
I
and the
love it.
UN.
not familiar at
I
all.
love it.
This just weird. It's like, this is gonna sound bad. It's not ska, but it's like it has a lot of roots in ska, but
Okay.
also like
A little
rock,
reggae then.
in a little reggae, but like definitely rocky and like super upbeat. And there's like they have everybody there. So they have they have an entire horn section. There's a guy playing the didgeridoo.
It's
Hell yeah.
It sounds like Real Big Fish.
It-
Do you know Real Big Fish?
Oh, wait,
think so.
sellout?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
That what you're describing sounds like Real Big Fish.
I'll listen and see.
Check 'em out.
Because I've never heard another band like them. And here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
If anyone goes and looks them up, or if y'all look them up, they like their stuff on Spotify is just like it doesn't capture it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
It's a
like
live thing.
not great.
Yeah.
It's live thing.
It's like
a
Kiss.
Grateful Dead kind
Yeah.
of deal.
Kiss had no following until their live album came out, and like people would go to their shows in droves, and their albums were not selling.
Yeah.
And they just had to keep churning and keep churning.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the coolest shows I've ever seen. We went actually for Duncan Fellows. They were opening. Duncan Fellows was opening for Andy Frasco.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
And so we were there, and we were like, it was done at 8 or something, and we were like, oh, might as well stay for this next band.
Yeah,
Andy
might as
Frasco and the
well.
UN. That's a weird name. Let's like
The UN?
see how it is.
Dude,
What
I
does the
dig it.
UN stand for? Do you know?
United
Nations.
Nations, I think.
For real?
Yeah,
Yeah. Desmond Tutu and the UN.
yeah. And so the guy came out, and it was his birthday, and he
Hell
came
yeah.
on stage with a giant bottle of something, and he was just a riot like, the whole time. He was Jewish and like kept on talking about how Jewish he was and how it was like his bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah.
That's his right, I guess.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Bat
and
mitzvah,
he-
bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah.
Yeah.
is
It's spelled
It's-
bat mitzvah,
yeah.
but I think it's pronounced bar mitzvah.
No,
Bar
no,
mitzvah.
they're two different things. The bar mitzvah
For real?
is for guys, and
The bat
mitzvah
mitzvah is for women,
girls.
right? Okay, there it is. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the whole thing with
got it.
him talking about how he was Jewish because I realized now it sounded weird that I just like came out and said he was Jewish. He made us do the
I
thing.
mean, I would
where you-
assume he's okay with us knowing that.
Yeah.
If he was
He-
making a big deal about it, like, yeah,
he,
there's no ill will here. It's cool.
He had us do the thing they do at bar mitzvahs where you put him on a chair,
Hoist him.
carry him.
Yes,
Yeah.
And he had
yes.
us
Like in the
carry him.
Drake music video.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da,
And literally, like,
yeah.
everybody on stage was
You know the song. Everybody now.
yeah, everybody. And everybody was, they were doing the thing on stage. They were singing that song, and we
Mm-hmm.
were carrying him around the room, and we were in Stubbs indoor. And so he went to the bar, got
Nice.
a shot. He had us like carry him up the stairs. We were rolling through people that were like eating their food. We came back downstairs.
Let's
The show
go.
kept going. It was nuts. He was like jumping into the crowd, and part of the thing was just this like. It was this magical experience of like, who the heck is this guy? I've
Nah, I
never
love
heard
it.
in the world. And then the best part of it all was at one point he was like super drunk off his ass at this point, and he was like, "Follow the fucking trumpet!" And like 50 of us were like, "Okay." And so the trumpet guy jumped off stage and started playing the part that they were all playing, and we Congo line. Got up in a Congo line behind him, and he went up the stairs. He went out the front door, out onto Red River. If y'all have ever been like where
Yeah.
Stubbs
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
busy street.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We started doing like snakes throughout Red River. Like cars were stopping, like honking their horns. We went back around the back end of Stubbs, through the back entrance, came on stage, and he was on time. And it was the coolest thing I've
What?
ever seen.
You
And
sold
the band
me.
was still going.
You sold me, dude.
It was remarkable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That-
You know
truly
what? You know what?
incredible.
When you started the story, I was like, well, there's no fucking way this is going to be as good as you're making it
With
out
a
to
band
be.
like the UN, come on. They're a
well,
bunch
okay,
of
okay.
bureaucrats.
With the UN behind you, what can't you
Yeah.
It
do?
was insane.
Bunch of red tape is
Speaking
all
of
there.
speaking of large bottles, so you mentioned several
Oh.
times on social media, and I mentioned this a little bit
Yeah.
earlier. You like sparkling water.
I
right?
do like sparkling
All
water.
right, so
yes.
you apparently don't like Topo Chico.
I,
that
I
much.
like Topo Chico.
Okay,
I
because
just
I'm a
It's just
huge Topo
harsh.
Chico
okay.
guy.
Okay.
So what you don't like is a huge bottle
Is
of
it-
What you
Topo
don't like
Chico.
is a huge bottle of Topo Chico. So me and Lindy were back. We're coming back from a lake house yesterday.
Yeah.
And I stopped at a gas station.
You
with
know those, right?
primarily
Gas stations?
Yeah.
primarily
Yeah.
like Spanish products, Mexican products, and I had never seen this in my life. No, I'm serious. Like it was like
Yeah, no, I
like
get it.
you
most of the
corrected
words
me.
were in Spanish. I'm not, you know.
Well, sure. Yeah. No. I'm.
Anyways, this is the biggest bottle of Topo Chico I've ever seen, and I thought to myself, Nate likes sparkling water.
Yes.
I do like sparkling
And
water.
what can I do besides be the best host that I can? And so I got this for you.
Thank you.
This bottle
Don't
needs a
feel
home.
obligated to drink it all right now, but that's for you to keep.
There you go.
Thank you.
I want you to have it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'll cherish it forever.
Hey, maybe take
No,
it to your wedding. I would
That's
say
a good idea.
There you go. And get the champagne saber.
I'll-
Get the
Yeah.
the saber.
And just yeah.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I
That
do
is a great
love
wedding
Topo
gift, by the
Chico.
way. For anyone like getting married, champagne
The saber.
saber.
You know,
Champagne
so there's this.
So
My
like,
favorite picture on the internet is Gucci Mane
Oh my god.
cutting his wedding cake with a sword.
Oh,
I don't think I've been
And
blessed
this was
enough
after
to
he
see
got
this.
out of prison.
oh god. Was it like a Civil War saber with like the hand guard?
It was
And
it was
everything?
more like a French, you know, with the
Like a
hand
rapier?
guard, like a rapier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And it you know, he dubbed it and then
like a
started
fencing
he
sword
started
thing.
Yeah,
Like a little thin guy?
somewhat,
Like a
somewhat.
Three
Yeah, it was more of one of the
Musketeers guy?
thin ones. Yeah, like kind of like what Captain Jack Sparrow might have. You know,
That's not as like get like a Braveheart like Claymore and just
I
like
think that's fucking
slice
sick.
that shit.
I don't know, dude. I think that's fucking sick.
Get Gimli's axe and just be like
Okay, give me.
Just destroy the cake.
like-
no more cake.
husband and
No
wife
more
and my
cake.
axe. Just out of nowhere. I
I've
love
never
it.
seen that photo.
Speaking
You've
of
never
husband
seen
and
Lord of the
wife-
Rings?
Wait.
I've seen Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Speaking of husband and wife, though, I want to circle back. You're getting married
Yes.
in Washington State.
In Washington State. Yeah.
Tell me about this woman. Where did
So-
y'all meet? What's your story?
Greatest woman in the world. Shout out
Ooh.
Jordan Pearson.
Nice. There you go.
Shout
and
out.
we
No offense to all the other wonderful ladies out there, but this one has a big fan. Go ahead.
and so we met in Canada, which is part of the reason why we're going to Washington
Excellent
is because
story.
we wanted to get married in Canada, but it's been closed
I hear that.
due to
That's
COVID.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Me and my
Yeah.
mom have
Yeah.
been trying to get up there for months.
And so we're just getting as close as we can, and the scenery up there looks the same. So it's like reminiscent aesthetic in general.
Similar deal.
But yeah, we met up there. We were working for a Young Life camp. I don't know if y'all are familiar with. Young
Wait a
Life.
second. Wait a
Yeah.
second. Wait a second.
Malibu.
Do you know any of the chefs from Malibu by chance?
Sure.
I know a guy who worked
think
at the Malibu kitchen. His name's Sean Stout.
Sean sounds super familiar.
Yeah, whatever.
I bet I probably met him,
Texas
yeah.
camp people. It's all one big.
Yeah,
Cult. Anyway, sorry.
yeah.
Your marriage and wedding. Continue.
Oh yeah, well we met up in Canada at Malibu camp. Super cool place. And she was from Louisiana, and so it was just like chance or fate or God, whatever you want to say, that
Yeah, yeah.
brought us
Yeah,
together.
no.
I say God, but
I'd say God.
and so we cheers to that.
Hey, wait, I want to.
Cheers.
Yeah.
And so we met up there, and then did long distance for like 8 months or so.
Talk to me about that.
Long distance is
No, go ahead.
long distance is great. It was hard at some points, but
No, I hear
it was also like honestly, I feel like we were at kind of the perfect amount of distance for long distance to be feasible
I hear
for
that.
that. Like, I mean, obviously everybody has their own preference or whatever, but we were 7 hours apart, so you can do the drive in one
Dang.
day.
Yeah.
And it's like you can go for a weekend trip.
Sure.
But I feel like if it was 3 hours apart, like one of my good friends is dating this girl who's 3 hours away, and it's just like I feel like a lot of pressure to just like
I hear
constantly be going when you're that close.
Mhm.
Then if it's longer,
Yeah.
you're like, oh gosh, like that's a
What am I
whole week
supposed to do?
vacation. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So it ended up being like the perfect distance for long distance. Obviously, we didn't like long distance, so she ended up moving to Austin because she'd been wanting to get out of. She was in Shreveport,
Nice.
Louisiana.
Oh, you want
That's
to get out of
understandable,
Louisiana?
Yeah, she wanted
for
to get
sure.
out, and so
Especially Shreveport.
Shreveport
Holy
is the
shit.
Cleveland of the South.
Dude, I wouldn't even.
Yeah.
It's the Shreveland of the South.
It's the Shreveport of the South. Yeah.
she felt the same. So yeah, ended
Dang.
up in Austin, and
That's
rest
awesome,
is
There you
history.
go.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah,
dude.
she was at the Herschel show, right?
yeah, she was.
Yeah, awesome, dude.
So how long?
3 weeks from now. Yeesh.
3 weeks.
Are
yeah.
you ready? You think you're ready?
I'm so ready. I'm
How
I'm
long have
for
you
it.
been dating?
We dated for 2.5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then we decided to just do a super short engagement because we were like, we like
I hear that.
we wanted to have a small wedding anyways.
I hear that.
Yeah, and so we're just having like 25 people up in Washington. So I think our engagement is going to be a total of like 3 months and some change or so.
That's the way to do
Yeah.
it, my man. I'm
Yeah.
all about that.
Agreed.
I want to elope
Agreed.
personally.
Yeah.
My parents eloped, and I'm like, I will elope. And my mother has told me, like, if you elope and don't tell me, I will disown you. I'm like, but that defeats the purpose of eloping.
It's, yeah.
And she's like, no. You tell me where you're going, and I'll be there. I was like, you don't tell anyone else. I was like, that's not the point.
Well, that's
She's
like,
like, well, yeah.
That's like a new, like, I don't know. It's not a fad because it's going to stick around, but like it's like a new like thing that people are doing. I feel like is an elopement that is still.
It's just to make it smaller.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
Make it mean, because they get so out of control.
Yeah.
And you get like talk about bachelor and like bachelorette parties now.
Yeah.
They've turned into whole weekend excursion. It's a whole
Yeah.
thing, and it's like what a commitment that you're asking your friends to make.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
For me, yeah.
I feel like elopement, small wedding is the way to go.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel
For
that.
sure.
So when is it? When I'm invited, right?
September 5th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
of course.
deal.
We're both
Yeah,
coming.
obviously,
Yeah.
obviously, it's a small family only thing with me and John.
Plus the podcast.
That's right. That's right. So I basically can't wait for
We're actually
me and Chris to
recording-
perform at your wedding.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah.
recording part 2
Yeah.
right between the ceremony and the reception.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
have it set up. Don't worry, no
be
stress
perfect.
on your part.
Yeah.
just sit down. The new Mrs. is invited.
All
we
right,
want to
so
talk to her.
yes. So kind of on that note, what have you got coming next, music-wise? What are you thinking? You said you had a country album in
Yeah,
the works.
I mean-
what's the deal? What are you
So-
thinking next?
Currently, I've shifted gears just a little bit from country. And
Damn it.
I'm like,
No, I'm okay with that.
I've been listening to a lot of like that 2000s, like electro indie pop, like Passion Pit and Group Love and like MGMT and M83. And I really want to do stuff like that. That's just heavy on the synth.
Yeah,
Got to get
just
into like Daft Punk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get yourself like a what are the pad with
Yes.
like the 9? the
Actually, I
nines?
have one
Yeah.
of those. And
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
You're ready to go.
And so I've been listening to a lot of that, but I mean, honestly, I don't really know. I really want to put something out. I'm ready to do it. I feel like it's way overdue.
Sure.
Although living with Reese, I feel like I have a skewed thing because he puts out a new song like every other week, and you can't keep up with
Reese,
that.
dude,
He's an animal.
yeah. No
Reese is an
kidding.
animal.
And they're all good, which is insane. But anyways, yeah. So something
Yeah, save
coming
that
out,
for his podcast.
Yeah,
For sure.
Mm-hmm. something hopefully coming out soon. But I got no dates or anything.
No,
Yeah.
I mean,
I hear
yeah.
that.
I mean, who knows when this will come
That's-
out, frankly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the fact that you said that earlier, it's like you got country and you got some of this and you got some of that. Golly, if that's not just the creative process of like flexing yourself out to see where you go and trusting yourself to know like I'll make my way.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point you're like, wow, it's done. And then it's like, wow, it sucks.
Yeah.
And then like you go back to it and you work and then you like keep going and it's like so I mean I get that for sure. I mean
Yeah.
I know everything I do sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, how like Kanye, it's like, you gotta
gotta
be in
fold.
you gotta be in your own timeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you release a good project 20 years from now, that's better than if you release a shitty project today, right?
Agreed.
You know,
Yeah.
wait on it, wait
Yeah.
on it, man.
Wait
Yeah.
on the 29th Donda listening party.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like, no, now it's ready to go.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa,
Now she's good.
that
Now
bump.
she's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What are you gonna be singing tonight? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna sing Flip Floppin'.
Flip flopping.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right.
Love it.
And so you got a Fender acoustic. What's the deal behind that?
I think I got it for Christmas one year.
Okay.
That's the only acoustic I own. And so actually,
Yeah?
I have a Takamine And I actually have a couple other acoustics. Both of them just have broken strings, and I haven't bothered fixing them. But I have a Takamine, but
Sure.
it doesn't have a pickup, and so like
Well,
I use it for recording
yeah.
sometimes. And then I have this old. I don't know. Have you ever heard of Applause? The
Yeah.
brand of guitar.
I'm not.
So it's this like it's black plastic back, like rounded back, weird looking guitar.
I know what you're talking about. Where it's like grainy. kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
It's like a travel guitar.
Yeah, and I found it in the attic at my grandparents' place, and
Yeah.
my dad was like, "Hey, that's my guitar." I was like, "Do you play it?" And he was like, "Nope, never learned how," and so now it's mine. Yeah, and but the Fender's the one that I use.
I'm fascinated by your ease of use. Like you just pick up whatever you got around. Like, oh, that guitar was closer. Oh, this one has strings.
Yeah.
Oh, this, and you just make it work.
Yeah.
You got immense talent, my dude. And just picking it up and just like, well, maybe ukulele's closest this time, and it's just like that's incredible.
What'll happen if the accordion is closest to you next? You know,
I can't
Oh,
wait.
man.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that
Making
project.
Just like French bangers.
That's
There you go. The story about the accordion player that left his accordion in the back seat, and like he ran out to his car and
This
his
is gonna
window
be a
was broken,
Dumb joke, isn't it?
and there was another accordion in his back seat.